What if you're set up so that you intentionally don't have enough? Because one thing you are going to find out when you read scriptures, God does not play about, number one, he don't play about you. Number two, he does not play about making sure that he is the one that gets the glory at the end of the day. He don't play about that. So I am in the beginning of the Old Testament. The story that I ran into was Judges 6 and 7, the story of Gideon and his army. And that's it, and you should read that. I would encourage you to study that. Judges 6 and 7. Gideon has this massive army. And God says, the army you have is too big. It's too big. And part of that is because if you go and fight with this big army, you will say, it was in my own strength that I conquered. So he tells Gideon, you need to cut down this army number, right? So then Gideon says, announce to the army, if anyone is afraid here, please leave. He loses 22,000, but he still has 10,000. God says it's still too many. So then they go to the stream and God points out who should leave and stay. At the end of the day, Gideon has 300 people. And God says, okay, that's good. Because it has to be clear that this is by God's strength, not your own strength. You are the vessel. Now, the interesting thing about that is Gideon still had to go with the army and go down to the camp, right? And face his opponent, right? So God still demands obedience, even though he's there with you. The most recent thing that all of you know about is the half marathon. I'm not going to have time to train for this. I'm a plastic surgeon. I have 3 children. I have a family. Also, I own a business. Like, it's not like I'm, employed working for a hospital. Like, there is so much. How in the world am I going to find time to train for this? God said start. Okay. I didn't have enough. I didn't feel like I had enough time. I certainly didn't have it in my, it wasn't my own strength. The longest I had ever run at a time was 1 mile. And certainly not by my own doing that I even thought about doing this, right? And it's given me so much back. And that's what God does, is he puts his visions on our hearts because he knows at the end we're going to gain so much if only we can follow the vision. Now, the other part of that is this: starting a business. There was no way. I was like, how am I going to do that? Right? Not even just starting a business, starting and sustaining a business, right? Starting is the hardest part, but sustaining it falls right beyond that, because there are constantly things, obstacles in your way and challenges and things. And I saw this one video where somebody was like, you want to start trusting God? Start a business. And it was hilarious, but it was true, because there is no faith walk like the entrepreneur business ownership walk. Now, the other thing I have faced that I have literally has not been my own strength, grief. When faced with so much grief recently in my life, I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get past this? And wake up in the morning and like find a reason to get up and go. Right? God put all these things in your path and doesn't give you enough, because you have to lean on him. That it's mandatory. It's not an option. And you have to remember that the same Jesus who the disciple says, who is this that the wind and the water obey him, is your Jesus. You know that, right? If he can do that, what can he do for you? In Romans 8, we're told God gave his only son for us. If he does that, what else can he do? Like, what can he do for you? God set up David with 5 stones to kill a giant whose armor weighed almost as much as David did. And he only used 1 stone. God set him up without enough so that we can see and know that it wasn't about what he had, it was about who he had. So it's not about what you have to face whatever you're facing, whatever that may be. It may be a vision God has placed in your heart. It may be a season of life that you're struggling through. It may be grief. It may be starting a business. It may be anything. Whatever you are in right now, remember, it's not about what you have, because you don't have enough, and God sets us up that way. You don't have enough, but you know what it's about? It's about who you have. And who you have is an almighty, amazing God who always comes through. All right, y'all. Happy belated Faith Friday. And thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to share this word. And I hope this reaches who it needs to reach.